Good morning, family. Peace and blessings. It is me, Coach 67 Sports TV. Shout out to the awesome and amazing LDBC, Lions Den boxing community. Shout out to the Louisiana All American Sports Network. Shout out to M Vision Photography and Videography. He just did for me episode 1 of this new Southern University series that I'm coming out with. And of course, shout out to the greatest university in the world, the Southern University, home of the mighty Jaguars. This is episode 1 of the morning commute. I'm going to talk about a variety of different topics on this morning's particular show. First and foremost, I'm going to talk about NBA All-Star Weekend. Then I'm going to move on and talk about this weekend's card with Keyshawn Davis. Then I'm going to talk about Tank Davis and how he's never going to fight like elite level competition. And then lastly, I'm going to talk about Tank, not Tank, I'm saying Tank. Lastly, I'm going to talk about Canelo Alvarez and Terrence Bud Crawford. But first, I'm going to be here for a good time, not a long time. In terms of NBA All-Star Weekend, I'm not going to lie. NBA All-Star Weekend just was point blank and honest. It was trash, complete trash. No cut, no corners around it. In terms of All-Star Saturday, Matt McClung. First of all, this dude not even in the NBA. This dude is in the G League. For those individuals that don't know what the G League is, it's the semi-pro league right under the NBA is NBA's feeder league. A lot of times, if you get a rookie or a player that's on the team and he's struggling, or maybe the team don't think he's good enough right now, whatever the case may be, they'll send that particular player down to the G League. Sometimes for a certain length of time, sometimes for the entire season, X amount of games, whatever. Salute to my brother Jared 11 Green. Salute to you, bro. Good morning, bro. But Matt McClung, he won the NBA dunk contest for the third year in a row. And he's not even the NBA. He's in the G League. So we talking about DEI hires and getting rid of DEI. Well, Matt McClung is a DEI slam dunk contest winner. I mean, if we gonna let people that's not even in the NBA like be in the dunk contest, then we might as well open it up to like some of these N1 cats from back in the gap. Because I remember this N1 player, the Arab there, he did a 720. Like that's the only person I see do a 720 dunk. To me, that particular dunk is probably like the best dunk I've ever seen, whether we include NBA dunk contest dunks or not. I'm sure they got a lot of street ball cats out here that could beat Matt McClung in a dunk contest. So we opened it up to players that's not even in the NBA. Come on, man, we might as well go all the way with it. So that was kind of trash. Tyler Hero won a 3-point contest. Salute to my brother Brent Fox. Good morning, bro. Salute to you this morning. Also, Donovan Mitchell, he won a skills challenge skills competition. But in terms of like the format for All-Star Weekend itself, this is what they did. They already knew that like the All-Star game itself is trash. It's been trash for quite some time. These players don't take it seriously. They make millions of dollars. The only thing they worry about is not getting hurt. So what they did is they came up with a new format. Since it's going to be this last All-Star Weekend on TNT, TNT has been covering the NBA for like 41 years at this point. But this is going to be the last year because I think NBC and somebody else ended up getting the rights for the NBA. So it's no longer going to be on TNT. Of course, Ernie Johnson, he gonna stay on TNT, but Shaq, Charles, Kenny, they're not gonna stay with TNT. So basically, what they did was they had like I guess kind of like a draft type situation where Shaq had his own team, Charles Barkley had his own team, Kenny and Jet Smith had his own team, and Candace Parker had her own team. So basically, at that tournament format, and I think Kenny team went against Charles team, Shaq team went against Candace Parker team, and the two teams that won their respective games ended up meeting in the finals. And basically, Shaq's team, he had on his team, he didn't have no bigs. He had like Kevin Durant, he had Jason Tatum, Jalen Brown, Steph Curry, James Harden. Like he had the most stars on his team. Uh, he beat his team beat Shaq team in a championship game, and Shaq had like all the bigs on his team. He had Carl Anthony Towns, he had the Joker, he had Wimby, he had SGA, and basically they just had a tournament style set up. Truthfully speaking, I felt like it was trash. Uh, don't get me wrong, I know they're trying different ideas. From what I'm understanding, next year they're gonna try to do like a one-on-one contest. At the end of the day, I think unless you get guys that's really sold out in terms of really gonna go out there and play hard and make it what it used to be, the best exhibition game, best basketball exhibition game in the world. Unless it's like that, unless it's hard, unless it's competitive, like it's almost like a waste of time at the end of the day. And as a basketball coach, to me, it's kind of hard to watch when guys not even going all out, giving a full effort, especially on the defensive end. So that's my recap of All Star Weekend. It wasn't nothing to write home about. Next, you know, this Friday's card with Keyshawn Davis. Of course, in the main event for that particular card, Keyshawn Davis, he went against Dennis Barichek. Of course, leading up to it, they had uh, uh they had a little situation where somebody allegedly sent Keyshawn Davis bananas, watermelon, and a note. Me personally, I'm gonna keep it a buck. I think Keyshawn sent that himself to his hotel room. Then he was saying Belichick sent it, his team or whoever, and what's his name is tell a female Lopez. He was laughing at it. A lot of people felt like he sent it, but at the end of the day, in terms of like the actual fight itself, it was nothing really to write home about. I ended up going back and watched the fight because I was going to my mom's house. I ended up listening to the Queens of the Ring as they gave play by play on it. Shout out to Nick Jan Bastiana. They did a good job in terms of calling the fight. I went back and watched it. It really wasn't nothing to write home about. So Keyshawn Davis, he picked up a strap in the 135-pound division. And the sad thing about that is he's friends with Shakur Stevenson. So them two ain't gonna never fight each other. You already got Tank who really not trying to fight no elite level competition. And then you also have, besides those two, you also have Vasil High Tech Lomachenko. So, you got four strap holders. And none of them really gonna fight each other. That particular weight class really doesn't move me at all. You know, so I mean, at the end of the day, it's gonna be interesting to see like who does what. But that's one of those divisions that I'm like, I really could care less about because even though you have talented fighters like Keyshawn Davis, like Shakur Stevenson, like Tank Davis, Vasil Lomachenko, we know nobody in that division is gonna fight each other. So at the end of the day, it's like, what's the big point? What's the big deal? Uh, so it is what it is. Also on that particular card, uh, we had a couple other fights. Our friend Big Baby, he fought, didn't look too hot, and when I remember when Roy Jones Jr. was kind of giving him a pep talk, and right in and there let me know like this dude he really don't have boxing in him. And then of course Martin Bacola beat the brakes off him. Man, Big Baby, at the end of the day, man, I don't know what his financial situation looked like, but at the end of the day, I think he just might well give it up at this point. He really, I don't know, he just don't move me. He never did. Uh, so Big Baby Anderson. I mean, I think he has potential, but you know, he he really don't want to fight, and I mean, he just don't have no heart. So at the end of the day, I think I think Big Baby he might well call it a career if his financial matters are in order. Uh, but one of the main topics of this particular show is I want to talk about Tank Davis. Recently Tank Davis was interviewed by rapper Lil Yachty, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm not trying to speak ill of Lil Yachty. Both of them, got a nice following, a nice fan base. I think it's more of a situation of Tank Davis has a huge fan base, Lil Yachty has a fan base. So let me interview you. Lil Yachty, he really not, he really at this point his interviews leave a lot to be desired. But the main takeaway from this particular interview is the fact that he pretty much acknowledged that he ducked Devin the Dream Haney, that he really don't want no smoke with him. And, one thing about Tank, he's made it clear that he basically he trying to fight for money. That he really not fighting for legacy. He's not trying to fight the best possible competition he needs to fight. So it's all about money. Now that Turkey Alex Shake has entered into the sport of boxing, and he out here with the bag. Basically, now you don't have no reason to duck. Devin the Dream Hand. You don't have a reason to duck Shakur Stevens. You don't have a reason to duck the best possible competition. However, he still found a way out of fighting those two individuals. So I'm kind of paraphrasing what he's saying, what he said in the interview with Lil Yachty. But basically what he said was he didn't like the way Turkey Alex Shake approached him. And not only that, in terms of the actual fight, they tried to make the fight with him on 2 to 3 occasions, like multiple occasions. And Turkey Alex Shake made it clear that Devin the Dream Haney is his guy. And as a result, he wasn't willing to go over there and fight on Riyadh season because he feel like if he don't knock Devin the Dream Haney out, then he gonna get robbed on the scorecards. Now, first things first. Brent Fox said, "Mark my words, Coach. Tank is going to lose to someone he cherry pick." And I ain't gonna lie, that's an excellent point, brother Brent Fox. Because at the end of the day, there's always a cherry pick that goes wrong. I mean, we see it in so many instances, whether we're talking about Canelo Alvarez and Dimitri Bivol. I mean, anytime you a cherry pick and you a constant cherry pick, you a constant duck, there's gonna always be a cherry pick going wrong. And this guy could be like an F level fighter, but you go in there one day, you don't bring your A game, or you go in there one day, and even if you did train properly, and you could just kind of be off your game, or this guy could be just a matchup nightmare for you. You have power, but he has a granite chin. You short, but he uses his height to keep you on the end of the jab. Whatever the case may be, there's always something that could go wrong, and that's a phenomenal point, Brent Fox. So I agree with you 100%. I think at one point Tank Davis, he's gonna find a fighter that he's cherry picked. That's gonna be a cherry pick going wrong. But if he fights long enough, I think he's gonna run in that scenario. But brother Brent, the way he made it sound like he's not gonna be fighting too much longer, and he didn't like the way Turkey approached him. But considering the fact that he's a knockout artist, he's concerned about. First of all, he don't want to go overseas. He don't want to fight on a Riyadh season card, which Turkey Al Sheikh made it clear that he's not just having Riyadh season cards. He's trying to have fight cards here in America. And also, if you're a knockout artist, like if you knocked out just about everybody you fought, like what's the big deal? So what's the big deal about you knocking out, you trying to knock out Devin the Dream Haney? Like that's what you do, right? So what's the big deal? And I mean, think about it. Goes to show you the difference between Tank Davis's mindset and the mindset of Devin the Dream Haney. Is a Devin the Dream Haney fan, like my second favorite fighter here in the sport of boxing. I was concerned about him going to Australia and fight George Kambosos. He didn't do it once, he did it twice. And each time he went, he put on a masterclass performance and thoroughly outboxed George Kambosos. So at the end of the day, it shows that Tank, he's really not confident in his skill set and his ability. And my brother Jado Levin Green, and he was saying, are Andy Ruiz and Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua, he another one, man. This dude, just like Tank Davis, just like Canelo Alvarez, it's like he's gone above and beyond. Anthony Joshua, instead of him coming to America and fighting, my favorite fighter, bronze bomber Deontay Wilder, he didn't want to do that. So he was trying to come to New York and fight a fighter that he could handpick, and he come to America and look impressive. So what ended up happening is he was going to fight Big Baby Miller, and Big Baby Miller, he popped dirty. So that's why I want to hear when these black fighters, test positive for any PEDs. You got what his name is, what's his face? I don't remember his name because he's really not relevant. Talking about Clarissa Shields, feeling the PD test or whatever. Who cares? Because nobody cared when Ryan Garcia failed one. So I don't even want to hear. But Big Baby Miller, he popped dirty. So instead of Anthony Joshua fighting him, they made it seem like he was trying to fight Luis King Kong Ortiz, which we know was cap. He wanted no smoke with King Kong, and he ended up fighting Andy Ruiz, and Andy Ruiz beat the brakes off him, and he upset him. Of course, a lot of people was talking about like Teddy Atlas from a physical fitness standpoint. Anthony Joshua, he's considered to be extremely physically fit, whereas Andy Ruiz is on the opposite end of the spectrum. But even with that being said, for Anthony Joshua was a cherry pick going wrong. And, it kind of just goes to show you Tank Davis' mindset. He's really not. The only thing he's really concerned about losing. And, kind of spinning it forward in his upcoming fight with Lamont Roach. They did this, like, I guess 24/7 type series called Gloves Off or whatever. And he talked about his huge fear of losing. And even though he didn't say it, I can kind of understand where he's coming from the perspective of, like, anytime a fighter loses, even with Devin Haney, even though Devin Haney got cheated, Ryan Garcia came in over the 140-pound limit. He used PEDs. People didn't care. They was just using that as a moment to create memes, to clown Devin the Dream Haney, to make fun of him, to taunt him. Because we know deep down those individuals were Tank Davis fans. But even with that being said, it's crazy how, every good thing that Devin the Dream Haney did, once Ryan Garcia cheated him, is like everything didn't matter after that point. So I definitely understand what he meant. But it just kind of goes to show you his mindset that at no point is he ever going to fight Devin the Dream Haney. He's never going to fight Shakur Stevenson because all he's concerned about is not losing. He doesn't want to lose. He doesn't want to get clowned He doesn't want to get made fun of. He doesn't want to be dragged all over social media. And I understand that aspect of it. But at the end of the day, like, you're a prize fighter. So clearly he's not concerned about fighting the best possible competition. If he could fight a F level fighter and make $5-6 million, he would rather that as opposed to getting $50 million and fight Devin the Dream Haney or Shakur Stevenson. Honestly, I don't even think he'll fight Keyshawn Davis at this point, to keep it a buck. So at the end of the day, it's crazy how, you got all of these Tank Davis fans, no matter, as some of the other brothers in the LDBC like to call them, Tankomaniacs. It doesn't matter what he does. They always find a way to justify or rationalize what he's done and give him every out, every pass, every excuse for what he's done. And at the end of the day, that's the issue we have with the sport of boxing. Like these Anthony Joshua fans, these Tank Davis fans, these Canelo Alvarez fans. They're not fans of the sport of boxing. They're fans of these particular individuals. And that's the reason why we have all of these issues that we have in the sport of boxing. And my brother Brent Fox said, Tank himself has said that basically he's for the money. And that's all. I mean, he's made it clear that he a bag chaser. But when you have the opportunity to fight and make the most amount of money you could fighting against Devin the Dream Haney for Turkey Al-Sheikh, it's like, nah, I don't want to do that. So basically what he's saying, he's trying to get the most money he could while simultaneously fighting the weakest level of competition he could. That's basically what he's saying. And my brother Brent Fox saying Canelo Davis is his new name. Well, big facts. Canelo Davis Joshua. Right. In fact, we might as well call all three of them that, because at the end of the day, those three fighters, of course, Canelo's supposed to be the face of the sport of boxing. After Tank knocked out Ryan Garcia, many individuals said he was the face of the sport of boxing. These three individuals are the face of the sport of ducking. These three individuals are everything that's wrong with the sport of boxing. And the last little topic I'm going to cover, shout out to my brother, Best Fight the Best. I was listening to his live stream on my way home last night, and he talked about how essentially Bill Haney, shout out to Trill Bill Haney. I met Bill Haney at the 2022 LDBC family reunion. One of the nicest people I've met in life. Evidently, he's, he really rocks with both Terrence Bud Crawford and Errol Spence Jr. And I'm not going to lie, it was a one-sided beating when Bud beat up on EJ until the fight was stopped. And, Best Fight the Best, he talks to Bill Haney on a consistent basis, and he talks to him regularly. And basically, he was saying that Bill Haney told Bud, like, you don't need to run it back with EJ. You should go after Canelo Alvarez next. And, he talked about, like, the details of it from the perspective of where EJ messed up is he told Bud that he's having trouble making welterweight, because he was at the welterweight weight class for a long time. He was unified. Bud had a belt. And so he told him, like, look, hey, I'm having problems making welterweight. And after we fight this fight, after I win, we're going to fight the rematch at 154. And then what ended up happening was, Bud beat him in a one-sided beating. And then when it was time for the rematch, Bud was like, all right, hey, we're going to fight again at welterweight. So, essentially, what he said is, Bud, he made it to where it was going to be difficult for EJ to make welterweight again. And he was going to make it as difficult as possible for him. And essentially, he was able to get out the rematch because once the no-limit time frame, once the November time frame passed, basically he wasn't obligated to fight Earl Spence Jr. anymore. And then he turned around and he fought Magdamov at 154. So at the end of the day, he was saying that basically, Bud wasn't obligated to listen to Bill Haney, but he did. And of course, we got the upcoming fight in September between Terrence Bud Crawford, who, in my opinion, is pound for pound the number one fighter in the sport of boxing, against the quote unquote face of boxing, which I strongly disagree with. In my opinion, it is Devin the Dream Haney, but that's my personal opinion. So they're going to fight in September. And to me, it seems as if Canelo is not confident in this. He's not confident in himself either. The same way I talked about earlier, how Tank Davis is not confident in his abilities. He's not willing to challenge it, nor test himself against Devin Dream Haney, Shakur Stevenson, even Keyshawn Davis, in my opinion. I don't think he's going to fight either one of those three guys. Honestly, the way he moves, I think Tanker, he'll probably try to fight Monster Inoue at a catchweight before he would fight Shakur Stevenson and Keyshawn Davis. That's just my personal opinion. But Canelo Alvarez, he was going to pivot and fight Jake Paul, but he ended up, sticking with the fight between himself and Terrence Bud Crawford. But it's going to be interesting to see how this year of boxing in 2025, how things play out. We got David Benavidez versus David Morrell. We're going to get, from what I understand, we're going to get Better Beeve and Bivol rematch. So it's going to be interesting to see how everything, turns out in 2025 in the sport of boxing. But in a perfect world, if I ran boxing, kind of like the Nas song, If I Could Rule the World, if I rule the sport of boxing, you'd have an undisputed champion in every weight class. The best fighters would try to fight the best fighters. And you wouldn't have individuals like Anthony Joshua and Saul Canelo Alvarez and Tank Davis not trying to fight the best possible competition, but you'd have the best possible competition trying to fight the best possible competition. But that's in the perfect world. We don't live in the perfect world. But that's it for this first episode of the Morning Commute. I appreciate everybody that dropped through, show love. My brother Jared 11 Green. This past Sunday, he did another episode of the Southern Baller Show. So be certain to go check out my brother Jared 11 Green on his channel, Southern Baller Show. Go rock with him. Go check him out. Also, my brother Brent Fox, he dropped through and he showed some love. Go to his channel and check out him on his channel where his show is just me starring Brent Fox. So go check out my LDBC brethren, my Southern Baller Show collective brethren, Jared 11 Green and Brent Fox. In the post section of my community tab on this channel, I have both of their channels and videos and whatever the case may be pinned. So go check them out. I'll catch y'all on the rebound. Y'all have a blessed, phenomenal day. For all my members of Jaguar Nation, I got some Southern University content dropping later on. Catch y'all on the rebound. Y'all have a blessed, phenomenal day. Peace and blessings.